Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 3 of Vlogmas. Today's Vlogmas video is all about goal setting. For the month of December, each Tuesday is going to be Tending List Tuesday, where we're going to talk about something power sheets and goals related. Power sheets are the goal setting tool that I use and have absolutely loved this year. I cannot recommend them enough. The new versions have come out. I think they've sold out of one of the cover options, but there are still 3 beautiful covers available if you're interested in a goal setting tool for 2020. Today though, we are here for my monthly check-in. Every month I check in with you. I share with you how last month went, all the action items that I had set for the prior month, which ones did I do, which ones did I not do, and then I talk about the upcoming month and all the goals that I have set for the upcoming month. This is sort of the last one of these, not really, for 2019. I will do a December check-in, and then I'll do a separate video that is my 2020 goals and my January tending list. But for now, let's start with November. For November, I did something crazy and I ripped out my tending list sheet. Not only did I rip it out, but then I folded it in half. That way I could stick it into my Erin Condren Petite Daily Planner that I took with me on my trips and take it with me. I am not mad at all about ripping this out. I am so glad that I was able to take this with me. It made me think about it a little bit more and check in with it a little bit more. I'm definitely gonna do it for December since I'm going to be gone a lot of December too. And I might even do it for 2020 as well. We'll see. I really liked the way that this worked for me. Because November was so busy, I only allowed myself to put 3 things in each category. And some of them I still didn't even do that great of a job. So the first monthly task I had on here was to set up my tending list for December. I did that. The next one was to do a 2020 overview, and I did that, kind of. I don't feel like I did that great of a job. I really only got out the things that I knew we had planned for 2020, which obviously isn't all that much yet. So I gave myself the check mark, but I'm doing something a little bit more in December for 2020, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the December list. And then the last one for November was to work on the Christmas gift list. I typically track and plan all my Christmas gifts in a spreadsheet. It's just easier for me. I have all the addresses in there, so I have a couple different tabs. I have like family and then friends and then Christmas cards, and it's just easier for me. So what I wanted to do in November was take that spreadsheet, just update it, like put 2019 instead of 2018, and then start jotting down the ideas that I already have for people in my life and at least make sure that the list was updated. I didn't do that. So last year's spreadsheet was actually on my work computer, and I even emailed it to myself so that I could work on it on my personal computer while I was gone, and I didn't do it. Okay, the weekly action items. The first one was not so good, and that was to catch up on my podcasts. Didn't happen. I don't know why I thought I was gonna listen to podcasts on a plane. It's just not a very good plane activity. Podcasts I found for me work really well when I'm doing something else that requires me to move around, whether I'm walking or cleaning the apartment or something like that. And what I really need to do is get back into the groove of listening to podcasts while I'm doing stuff like folding laundry or like tidying, instead of having what my bad habit is. I have like Netflix on, and so it's either like Friends or Gilmore Girls or something for the millionth time instead of listening to new podcasts and getting that information. So I really need to get better and go back to doing that to catch up on my podcast. I'm not including it in December. I will figure out how to tackle those when we get to 2020. I am trying to avoid the whole like, I'll just do it in 2020 thing, because I feel like December really, that just happens a lot. There are a lot of things that you're like, oh, I'll just do it in 2020. So there's a couple things you'll see on my December list that I was tempted to push, and I was like, you know what? It's really not that much work. Just get it done in 2019. All right, the next one was working on my phone photos. I did a good job of this. I did do it once a week. I still don't feel like I made a dent in my photos. I talked about it last month, but my plan and what I did was each time I was on a plane, I would spend a chunk of time while I was watching a movie or whatever, going through my photos. Nothing crazy, y'all. I'm literally just like deleting extra photos of stuff and trying to put stuff into albums, trying to delete all the millions of screenshots that I have, etc. But I really still don't feel like I made a dent in this. So I don't know what the solution to this is. I mean, I have like an obnoxious number. I don't even know what it is. I think it's like 20,000 photos on my phone right now. I don't have a solution yet. And then the last one was to take a phone-free bubble bath, and I did do a good job of this. The only week I didn't do it was the week I was at home, which I think is so funny. I did it out of town the other 3 weeks of the month. So I'm really excited that I was able to incorporate that. It helped that I was into a book every time, so I was excited to go get in the bath and take my book with me and leave my phone in another room. But that's just something that I want Again, I want the habit not to be taking a bath necessarily, because I'm pretty good at that habit because I like baths. I want the habit to be, don't take your phone in there with you and like scroll through social media while you relax. Like take a book, take a magazine, or take nothing and just be alone with your thoughts. Okay, the daily action items. So the first one was Apple Watch, which I switched up the rules for this month. Instead of doing all 3 rings had to be closed, I only required myself to have 2 of the rings closed on my Apple Watch activity circles. And I did a pretty good job of this. The only time I kind of fell short was when we were in India and I was dressing up for the wedding and I just didn't feel like wearing my Apple Watch. I just didn't feel like it looked right. So I didn't wear it for a couple days. And then I missed it a couple other days here and there. But for the most part, I did a pretty good job of getting 2. I don't have it on my December list because there's just other daily things that I prioritize for December, but it's definitely something that will be back in 2020. The next one was to touch my planner every day. And I did a decent job of this, but I have to say, I don't think having it on the list made me do it more. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think having it on the list like forced me or inspired me to touch my planner while I was out of town. I think I touched it when I would have touched it anyways, regardless of the tending list. So like, I did a good job, but like, I don't think I improved my life by adding this to my list. And then the last one was to read, and kind of the same thing here. I didn't really care as much about getting all the checklists. Like, I read when I was gonna read anyways. Like, I don't feel like I went out of my way to read just to get the check mark, which is kind of the whole point, right? So I don't know if that was just a habit or that was just the mindset I was in November, but I really don't feel like it, actually for all of them almost, like I don't think I ever went out of my way to do something that I wasn't gonna do anyways just because it was on the list. Something I definitely need to work on in December. So overall, November was good. I mean, I was out of town like 70% of the month, so I don't blame myself for not having as much done as I maybe wanted to, but I still made progress on some goals, which is the important thing to focus on. But let's talk about December. I'm very excited for December. I love the holidays. I love Christmas. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas movies. I am all about it. So I am so excited that December is finally here, but I do have some lofty goals, not necessarily like giant needle moving, like you'll be like, well, that's not that big of a deal, but like I'm excited about the things that I have on my list this month. So let's start with the encouraging words. I decided to use a quote from Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and he goes, maybe he thought Christmas doesn't come from a store, and the part I included is maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And then my top priority for December that I put is 2020 prep. A lot of my things this month are prepping for 2020. Not really my daily action items so much as like the other ones, but there are a lot of things that I'm trying to do to prep for 2020. And so I kind of just decided to make that my priority. I don't really think it's gonna influence all that much. Truthfully, I did all the other lists, like the other things first, the action items, and then went back and added that. So it doesn't have that much meaning. Okay, let's start with the monthly action items. So the first one I have on here is birthdays. This is something I was including every month. Somehow in October and November, I didn't have any birthdays. I know I have birthdays in December. I have my twin brothers, who I actually gave them their gifts when I was home for Thanksgiving. I got them both advent calendars this year, which I thought was fun. There's gotta be a huge struggle with it overlapping with the same month as Christmas. So I thought it would be fun to have a gift where they can open it every day until Christmas. So their birthdays last the entire month. Actually, I need to remind them. I'm filming this on Sunday, December 1st. I need to remind them to open their first door today. Anyways, I still want to send them a card on their actual birthday, and then I know I have other birthdays this month too, so I added that back on there. The next one on the list is to schedule venue tours. So we are headed to Texas next month to look at venues, wedding venues. I'm so excited. I started emailing with some venues last month, right after we got engaged, just to get some more information. I had quite a few on my list, probably way more than we can actually visit in person. So I wanted to get some more information from them, and a lot of them were like, well, come visit. And I'm like, well, I'm not coming till January, so let me wait and make appointments then. So what I need to do first off is finish filling up all the information in my spreadsheet and decide which ones we're going to go visit in person. Let me know in the comments, if you have gotten married recently, how many venues did you go visit? I'm trying to decide what's a more reasonable number for us to visit. We have 2 days, but I don't want to be ridiculous, and if possible, I'd also like to meet with a couple photographers while we're there too. So again, trying to trim it down. So I want to get all the information, and then I want to map them out on like a map and see like where they all are, so that I'm not picking, like scheduling the tours, like bouncing all across the city. And then I want to email them back and actually schedule the tours. So that's a big task that I have on my list for December. But I mean, it's a fun one, but it's something that like, it has to get done, because by the time we leave for Chicago for Christmas, like I don't want to have to worry about it. I want them all to be already scheduled. That way when we get to Texas, they're done. Okay, the next one is kind of weird, but I need to go get my ears cleaned. Every time I go to the doctor for a checkup, or for when I got my vaccines or anything, they like check my ears, just because that's like a part of the normal, you know, height, weight, heartbeat, lungs, ears. And they always tell me that I have too much wax in my ears. And I have tried, this is so gross, I'm sorry. I have tried the at-home stuff, like the things you buy from the drugstore. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. And last time I was there, this is the doctor in the basement of my office building. They were like, we can do it for you. We can clean your ears for you. Just like make an appointment. And this was one of those things that I was going to put on my 2020 list. And then I was like, you know what, Laken? It's not that big of a deal. They always have openings at that doctor's office. Just call down, make the appointment, and I'm sure they'll fit you in December and just get it over with. Okay, the next two things are both Christmas related. So the Christmas list that we talked about, I probably should also put on here actually mailing out the Christmas gifts, and then Christmas cards. I still haven't ordered our Christmas cards. I need to get on that. Sam and I just haven't had time to like sit down and chat and what he thinks. So we always send out holiday cards. They're not really Christmas cards. I shouldn't write that, because I usually get some sort of generic holiday one since he's Jewish. And then we send them both to our family as well as to all of his clients. So not only do I want his input for that reason, but then I also need his list of how many for his clients, because I have last year's list, but his list has obviously grown since last year. All right, everything else on this list is all related to 2020 planning. Some of it says 2020 and some of it doesn't, but everything else is all related to helping me prep for next year. So the first one is the actual 2020 planning. So what I originally was gonna do, which I talked about in one of these goals videos, was take the Erin Condren undated monthly planner, and because I had a spare one, and use that as my 2020 overview. There were two reasons why I didn't love that. The first one was, if I am literally doing 2020 as it is, January to December, why the heck am I dating an undated one when Erin Condren makes one that's dated? So I ordered a dated one. It has been delivered. It should be at my office when I get there tomorrow. The other reason was, though, is the purpose of this was to see the year at a glance, and that's harder to do when it's like you gotta flip all the pages. So what I started with was I printed out from like the internet. I literally just Googled like 2020 calendar, monthly calendar, and then I printed them so it's 2 per page, and then I did front and back. So it's 3 pages, 8.5 by 11 sheets. It's got all the months. And I used that to fill out all the things I know we have scheduled. But what I also want to do is go through my planner from this past year and jot down the things that I think will be scheduled. So like, are there things that we kind of do every year, and like, when are those gonna fall? Some random ones, like Sam's non-for-profit theater company that he works for, that he volunteers for, they usually have a show the first Monday of the month, every month. So I wanna get those down in my overview. And so I want to finish that on just the printouts first. And then I'm going to transfer into the Erin Condren Petite with sticky notes for now. I think that's my plan. If it's for sure 100% scheduled, like there's a flight booked, I might just write it in pen. If it's like something that I may like reschedule or I may not go to, that one I'm probably just put on a sticky note. But again, I want to just do a little bit more like big picture 2020 planning. The next one is to finish my 2020 goals. That's just to finish my prep work and my power sheets for 2020. I'm hoping to get through a good chunk of it at Cultivate Your Year Live next week, but who knows, I may not, and I wanna make sure that I get that done, obviously, before we go out of town. Not obviously, I guess. Last year, I didn't finish before going home for the holidays, and I took all of my power sheets with me, because it's one thing to rip out the tending list and take that with me on the go for the month, but to finish the prep work and to finish my goals, I had to take the whole thing with me. We're gonna be gone for almost 2.5 weeks, 4 different cities. Like, I'm not taking my power sheets with me. It's just not happening. So I need to finish those before I leave. The next one is to work on my 2020 book list. I'm so proud of myself for how many books I finished this year, or that hopefully number will still grow. I don't think I quite hit my goal. I was definitely on pace or ahead of it for a while, and then I sort of fell off the wagon a little bit, but I still will probably end up at like 20-ish books, which is awesome. But I want to go through the list that I'd made last year, you know, check off the ones that I read and update my list for 2020. Okay, so the next one that I want to for sure get done in December is get an Erin Condren Petite Planner coiled. I have been loving the Erin Condren Daily Petite. I love it. It has been a perfect layout. I'm so excited. Like, it's been working very well. I can't do the sewn edges. I need a coil. I need to be able to flip it around. I love the coil. So what I want to do is I want to take it apart and actually take apart a couple other ones as well and go get them coiled together at like a Staples or whatever. I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. I have a video with my friend Jen coming up where we show hers and kind of talk about it a little bit. And hopefully I'll have mine to show during a vlog at some point during Vlogmas. I'm so excited about it. I've been chatting with another friend who lives here in New York and she wants to get it done too. So we both ordered brand new petite planners. We're gonna get them done. And so that's on my list. All right, then the last monthly action item is to set up my notes pages. So I did set up my notes pages in July and I anticipated letting them roll into 2020, but I think I want a fresh start for the new year. And so I think I'm gonna set up some new ones. I haven't quite figured all that out yet, the recoiling and uncoiling that it might take, but I added it to my list so I didn't forget about it. So for December, I decided to skip weekly action items. I have struggled all year with weekly action items. They are the ones that I struggle with the most. For whatever reason, I just struggle to do things consistently every week. I don't know what it is. I don't know why that is. But I decided that given how busy December is, that I was instead going to max out on my daily and my monthly and skip the weekly, especially since I'm gone like the last 2 weeks, week and a half of the month. I figured let's just forget about it. Let's just focus on the sections that you're good at and we'll come back to the weeklies next year. Okay, the daily action items. Now, a lot of these are things that I probably was gonna do anyways, and some of them are just for fun, but I'm excited to have them here and to check them off this month. So the first one is Vlogmas, to make sure I post a video every single day. I mean, pretty sure I'm gonna do that. Like I have a plan and I did it last year, so I'm not too concerned, but I figured, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get a check mark for it. The next one is to open up my advent calendars. And I have this on here also to help me remember to do it. Because if you recall, if you were around last year, when I was doing the advent calendars, even when I was doing daily vlogs, I was forgetting to open it. Now, this year I do have 3, so I feel like I'm less likely to forget about them. They're on my kitchen counter, like, I feel like I'm not gonna forget, but maybe not. So I added it to my tending list. All right, the next one is to do my December daily. And the way that I'm approaching this check mark is not that I did it on that exact day. Like, I don't have plans to do December daily today because I know that the story I wanna tell is what I'm doing tonight with Sam. We're having a movie night. We're gonna have hot chocolate and watch a Christmas movie, and that's what I want to document. So I'm not gonna be able to do that until tomorrow when I get the pictures printed and then have time to sit down and do it. So what I want to use this check mark for is that I told that story. And if that happens, like if I do the actual activity on the 2nd, the 3rd, 4th, whatever, that's fine. The check mark is that I did that days, not that I did something that day. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not making sure that I work on it every single day. That's the goal. I'd like to work on it every single day, but there's days that I might not get around to working on it, and the next day I have to do 2, then I get 2 check marks. All right, the next one on my list is to make sure that I floss. I have been really bad about flossing in the last couple months. I think it's the travel. I don't take my water pick when I travel because it's just too big. So I need to be better about it. And I probably should take it with me when I travel at the end of the month. And then the last thing on my daily action item list is to get 6 hours of sleep. And this is gonna sound really funny, but I actually have it on there for both ways. Both to make sure that I get enough, but also to limit myself to 6. So hear me out. I love to sleep. I love to sleep. And if I let myself sleep with no alarm clock, I can sleep 9 hours nonstop. I'm a good sleeper and I love to sleep. During the week, I aim for 7.5 because I know that 9 is just, if I'm gonna like go to work and have a YouTube channel and have a social life, like 9 is not realistic. I aim for 9 on the weekends and 7.5 during the week. During the month of December, there's a lot going on. And what I don't want to happen, which I'm pretty sure happened during Vlogmas last year, is I got behind and I was like, well, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep tonight, and then tomorrow night I'll stay up really late and finish editing, or get up super early and finish editing. So I was very inconsistent with my sleep. There would be nights that I would get my 7.5, and then there would be nights that I would get like 4. And that's not good either. So what I'm trying to do consistently in December is to get 6 hours of sleep. And that way, on the nights that I felt like, oh, well, I have tomorrow's video, so I can sleep in. No, still get up and edit something. There's gonna be something to edit. And then on the nights that I feel like, oh, I need to get up early and do something, like, no, you need to get your 6 hours of sleep in order to get your check mark. So it's kind of coming at me both ways, which may seem a little bit weird, but I think that it will help me. It'll help my body also be consistent with the amount of sleep that I'm getting. And then I think it will help me stay on track and stay on top of things. You'll also notice I didn't put any color coding for December. I really just wanted it to be simple. I didn't really care about which goal it went with. These are the things that I knew I needed to get done, that I wanted to get done in December, and whether or not that really related to an overarching goal wasn't as important to me as making sure I get them done. A lot of these are kind of like, I could probably force them into a goal category if I had to, but I figured I would just leave the stickers off this month, especially since I'm out of some of the colors anyways. And again, start fresh in 2020. I feel like that's the mantra, start fresh in 2020. So that is it for my goals. Now I want to hear about yours. So let me know in the comments below, what is one thing you accomplished in the month of November? It can be as simple as you got a turkey on the table, but I want to know one thing you accomplished towards your goals in the month of November. Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos usually every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every day here during Vlogmas. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Vlogmas on every Tuesday. On my monthly, I'm definitely gonna do it this is November. All right, let's start with the month. Let me know in the comments if you've got married recently. If you've got married during the day, not during the day.